If you're watching this, it's because of a story that began over 100 years ago. A story that has led up to this moment, this video, right now. You see, in 1913, a non-government, private company approached the US government with a very unique concept. Essentially, they said to them, let us house your gold offshore, outside of any governmental structure, so that it cannot be manipulated in any way, shape, or form. And it will back up the currency that you create. It'll make the US dollar as good as gold. Now, the sales pitch was so effective that the US government bought into it, and they did exceptionally well. In fact, between the years 1913 and 1944, the US government flourished under a gold standard currency, a currency that's as good as gold. And yet at the same time, Europe went through two great wars. So in 1944, at the height of World War II, the US government opened its arms and invited the European heads of states into the same pitch they were given. They said, let us house your gold. Let it strengthen the US dollar. Let the gold standard be secure, and you can pair your currencies with the US dollar and rebuild. And it worked so well that Europe was able to rebuild until 1971. You see, in 1971, President Nixon signed a declaration without taking any counsel from any European heads of states and lifted the US dollar off the gold reserve. And in so doing, lifted every major currency globally off the gold reserve. And the fiat currency system was born. A system that essentially makes cash worth less, backed by nothing. And so between 1971 and now, money has been printed into every major economy globally under the term fiscal easing. You and I would call that counterfeiting. And every time money is printed and enters the system, it devalues the money already in the system. We all believe the cost of living is rising. Milk costs more, petrol costs more, electricity costs more, school fees cost more. But in reality, inflation is rising and the buying power of our money is decreasing. We call that inflation, and none of us are immune to it. But what if we could show you a mechanism, an asset that is immune? And what if we could show you a strategy that could create wealth ahead of inflation? If we could show you those two things, wouldn't that be something worth looking at?